introduce this evening's speaker. Her name is Estelle Slegers Helsen. She's a historical researcher and photographer, originally from Belgium, but now living in Leicestershire. And Estelle runs the Travel in Time project. She'll tell you more about that this evening. And recently she's been making a series of remakes of photographs by a photographer called W.S. Thomson in the Lochaber area. She now plans to visit and stay in the Westeros area regularly throughout 2023, and her goal is a new series of remakes taken from precisely the same locations where Thomson set his tripod all those years ago. So this talk is the start of a new adventure for Estelle, and she'd like you to become involved in that adventure. And I'm now going to hand over to Estelle. Thank you.
Okay, good evening all. Thank you, Karen, for the introduction. And yeah, hello to everybody in the museum. It's a good idea that also people can join from the museum. And hello also to everybody at home, wherever that is. Probably most of the people live in the Loch area, but I just heard somebody is living in Essex, and I've seen in the chat that somebody is joining from a place where it is 8:30 a.m. now. So that must be, yeah, Australia or something like that.
New Zealand as well.
Yeah. So yeah, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to start with a short introduction about the work and the life of W.S. Thomson. Because although he never there is no personal connection of W.S. Thomson with the Westeros area. He visited the area a lot of times from the end of the 40s until the mid-60s. And after the short introduction, we will make a travel from Loch Carron all the way up to Loch Broom and explore a part of the pictures, of the photographs that Thomson took in all these years. He was an active photographer in Scotland, and it's a mix of black and white photos and also color photos, so taken from the end of the 40s until the mid-60s. And I'll start sharing my screen. If it's okay, you now have full screen of the presentation. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never, well, I gave a lot of talks, but this is the first time I do it online, so it's a bit new for me. And after the introduction, and I hope to finish that in about 10 minutes, we'll start exploring the area. And maybe it's a good idea already being interactive when traveling through the area, and not keep the questions until the very last of the presentation. So yeah, here we go. First, a bit about who is W.S. Thomson, and these are 4 pictures of him during his life. The left, he's climbing the Ben Nevis, and on the right you see him as a photographer, and the other pictures will come around in a second. Thomson was born in 1906 in Glasgow, in Seymour Street, the northwest of Glasgow. So he is a Glaswegian guy. And Although he never went to art school, he started being a photographer in the end of his 20s, beginning of 30s. He was part of the Partick Camera Club, and I found a medal he got 1935. Yeah, the Challenge Shield he got from one of his pictures he took in Scotland. And he had a photo agency called Thistle Photos, and it was located at 124 West Nile Street. Besides being a photographer, and he learned being a photographer himself, he loved mountaineering. And he explored the Scottish mountains from when he was 25. He started exploring the mountains in Scotland, and also a bit the Lake District. And the picture on the left, that's probably Elizabeth Frame, and Elizabeth Frame was his girlfriend and would become his future wife. And the picture in the middle is also a picture of a group climbing the moonlit gully of the Ben Nevis, and probably also the lady on the left who is just struggling, climbing the mountain, is also probably Elizabeth Frame. And Thomson was involved in an well, he was not really involved, but there was a climbing fatality on the Ben Nevis at Easter in 1934, and Thomson was around on the Ben Nevis when that accident happened. In 1939, he moved to Orkney, and it's a bit strange move to go to Orkney. And in the Orkney Herald, I did find a small snippet of an article that he had family connections on one of the isles in Orkney, but I don't know if that is really the reason he went to Orkney to establish himself there as a photographer. But he stayed on Orkney until 1944. And the picture on the left is Thomson as a member of the Home Guard. And he also married his girlfriend, Elizabeth Frame, in 1939. They were both from Glasgow, and they were both 33 years old when they married. And their son, Alistair, was born in 1941. And you see there's a bit of gap between 1944 and 1945, and it's a bit strange. But his daughter got born in 1944, but not on Orkney, but in Glasgow. So I think the family moved for a short time from Orkney back to Glasgow, because in 1945, he bought a home on 3 Cameron Square in Fort William, and the house is still there. It's on the left, it's the picture on the left. In the middle, you see a stamp of him, where that's the proof he was the photographer with that address, 3 Cameron Square in Fort William. And on the right, you see a family picture of Thomson, William Sutherland Thomson, of Elizabeth, and then Fiona on the left and Alistair on the right. And that's probably taken in the spring of 1947. In 1951, Thomson moved a bit further to Corpach, where he bought Kilmallie House. And Kilmallie House was a house built in 1820 because they were building the Caledonian Canal nearby. And Thomson bought that house in 1951. And the picture in the middle is the view from his house on the Ben Nevis, and the picture on the right is a photograph of Kilmallie House I took last year. And in the middle picture, you see on the left a cherry tree, and that cherry tree is still there. You see it, the picture on the right, on the right-hand side. But unfortunately, I didn't make a remake yet of the postcard he published about his garden. And Thomson stayed in Korpach until 1963, and he was not only a landscape photographer, but he was also a press photographer, and he also took a lot of school pictures. So he went to the schools in the area, and there's an example in the middle of a school picture taken in 1952 in Onich. So that's not far from Fort William, a bit between Fort William and Ballachulish, near Ballachulish. And on the right-hand side is also a picture of Thomson with one of his cameras. And in 1963, Thomson moved to Edinburgh, and I'm still trying to find out why. And he probably moved to Edinburgh to expand his business. And he bought a cottage, and that cottage he named afterwards Kilmallie Cottage. And it's in Liberton, in the south of Edinburgh. And yeah, the cottage is still there, but it's changed a bit. And also Liberton isn't a village anymore, but it's just incorporated in the city of Edinburgh. And Thomson had also a small studio in Newtown, 8B St. Vincent Street. And he started also his limited company called W.S. Thomson Color Photographs in 1963. But unfortunately, Thomson died already in 1967 on the Isle of Skye. The 2nd of August 1967, they found his body on a lay-by not far from Uig in on the Isle of Skye. So he was only 61 when he died. And yeah, if I try to make I try to describe the characteristics of Thomson, he was a very proud Scotsman. He was wearing a kilt nearly all the time. He was very entrepreneurial, and you will see that in the following slides. And he was a very busy man. He traveled Scotland for more than 30 years, very extensive. And it's a bit strange. He didn't visit the Aberdeen area very often. So he was mostly focusing on the west side and the middle side, and also a bit the southern parts of Scotland. And in 1966, well, the 1st of January 1967, he became an MBE for his services to the Scottish Tourism Board. So he was some kind of, yeah, by publishing old books and booklets, he was really, making a lot of publicity for Scotland and the Scottish landscape. So a bit about his legacy. Up to now, and that's one of the downsides of the project I'm working on, there are hardly any originals left. Well, I didn't find a lot of originals yet, but I still hope to find a lot of boxes sooner or later with black and white negatives and color transparencies. But I found these stereo pictures. with a few examples on the right. He published two pictorial books, and they were published by Oliver and Boyd in Edinburgh in 1954, The Highlands in Colour, and 1956, Colour for Scotland. And it are, books about 60 to 70 very nice color photographs of the different landscapes all around Scotland. He also published a series, and up to now I found 23 different booklets of the Let's See series. And I'll show a lot of pictures today that were taken from his two major books, but also from the Let's See series, mostly from Let's See the Northern Highlands, and also Let's See Wester Ross. And Let's See the Northern Highlands, he already published in the end of the 40s. So it's a hardcover booklet with a lot, well, most of them black and white pictures. And the Let's See Wester Ross was one of his last booklets he made in the series. His photos were also published in a lot of other publications, like Wendy Wood's From a Highland Croft, The Glory of Scotland by Jack House, with an example of Lochaber and the Sliach. He published a lot of color pictures in Scottish Field, and it's a monthly magazine that still exists, and with an example of a picture taken from Gairloch with a view on the Torridon Hills, and on the right is a booklet, a tourist guide with pictures of him on the Isle, about the Isle of Skye. He also published a lot of postcards, not only on the left in some kind of pocket pictorials. It's a series, it's a bundle of about 10 to 12 postcards, and he sold them as a small booklet. And in the middle is one of his postcards taken from Crunert Bay, and on the right is a picture, is a photo in a series of letter cards with a view of Loch Torridon with one of the mountains in the back, but the name escapes me now. But we'll come back to that picture later. And like I said, Thomson was very entrepreneurial. So he also published calendars. He published coasters. His pictures were on lunch plates. And Karen just told me that a few days ago, when browsing through the collection of the Gairloch Museum, she found a tin box with a picture of Thomson on it. So on the one hand, I was quite surprised because I've never seen these kind of tin boxes with a picture of Thomson on it. But on the other hand, I'm not surprised because he was very entrepreneurial, and he tried to print his pictures on everything. I even already found a tea tray with a picture he took on. Okay, this is the introduction, and now we start the journey. And I'll start the journey in Loch Carron, and we just follow the road from Loch Carron all the way up to Kinlochhill, and then all the way up to Braemore, and then Ullapool. And I will switch now to one of the maps that are available on the Travel in Time website. And I'll give you an idea of, but this is not, these are not all his pictures, but this is a selection of his pictures so far. I put online and I geotagged them, so I pinpointed more or less where they were taken, and I'll zoom in again. You can do your own trip by going to the Travel in Time website after this this talk, and I'll just start with these pictures. What I suggest is, Emma, if somebody wants to comment on a picture, maybe can, yeah, the person can raise the small hand, and then can tell their story about what they know or about the picture they see, recollections. And I'll start with this black and white picture of Chintown in Lochaber. And this was published in his Northern Highland booklet. It's not a very spectacular landscape photo from the street in Chintown. And then I go further to Slum Bay village. And this is the end of the 40s. Because like Karen said, I made a series last year in Lochaber, and I already visited the Gairloch area a few times, but mainly around Gairloch itself. And these are all places I still have to try and revisit and try to make the remake, and then talk to local people and see what they still know about the area 50, 60, 70 years ago, and then see what changed or not. And I'll show during the trip, I'll show a few examples of remakes I made in October 2021. We'll move now to the Applecross area, and I'll zoom in on the Applecross Pass, and there are 3 pictures I found Thomson made, and this one is a color picture. This must be a very, very nice view, and I think it still is today. This is a black and white picture from more or less the same place. And then a third one. It's nearly the same than the color one. And I'm pretty sure this is his car. It's a Jowett Javelin. It's a car that was produced in the end of the 40s, beginning of the 50s in Bradford in England. And I've seen this car several times in other pictures taken by Thomson. So he parked his car and he just went up the rocks to make the picture. Okay. Zoom out again. And then I go to Applecross, where I found 2 pictures. This is Milton Village. Is somebody in the audience familiar with the Applecross area? You can also put it in the chat. Okay, I move on then. And here you can see this is Applecross itself, and this is a picture of what Thomson called the street in Applecross. It probably changed a lot. But looking to Google Maps, I've seen that, well, Google Earth, I've seen that most of the cottages are still there. But the view is still the same. Okay, then zoom out again. And I'll continue to the Upper Lochaber. And this is the picture from the I've seen this view in September last year from a bit below, because the main road is running a bit below, and it's still pretty the same, only there are a lot more houses in Torridon.
Is that Ben Alligan, Estelle?
Let me go back to yeah, Ben Alligan. Yeah.
Which isn't. No, no.
Any comments on that?
What one is it?
Lear.
Is it Lear? Is Lear not further along than Ben Alligan?
Ben Alligan stop me.
It's Lear.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a few people said it's Lear. Liz here as well said it's Lear.
Oh no. I'm pretty sure it is not. Because we will see, we will come along that in a few minutes, because I even made a remake of that from Lochaber, and this is really the end of Torridon.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think this is Torridon. If I go back to the map, you have this view on Torridon. So these houses are these ones. You can probably see the cursor now.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
see.
So this is the, let's call it the main street of the village. This one. I'll go further. This is from more the end of really the end of Loch Torridon, but then a view more to the north west. And then there are a few from the north side of Upper Loch Torridon. And this is very hard to trace back, and for these kind of, sometimes I drive around for, well, I don't drive around for hours and hours, but I park my car and I just go hike for hours and hours to try and find the place. I'll have an example of that about Lochaber in a few minutes. So this is probably going to be quite an adventure to try and find this location. And then a bit further up. Oh, oops. And what I try to do when I'm in the area, I first try to locate where it is, and I think this could be a rather easy one. The chances also that the landscape is still open, because what I experienced a lot in Lochaber was that in 70 years there were a lot more, and there are a lot more trees, and sometimes they block the view, and you can't make a remake. But this one, I think it would be fairly easy. And then I tried to find out about the cottage on the left. Here is an electricity pole, and you can see the road here. So that are all small features. The road is going this way, and it are all small features I try to focus on to make the remake. Okay, zoom out again. Let's see. Okay. For this one, no. Zoom in a bit. There are 3 pictures he took from Lochaber. And this one, I now go back to the presentation. It's this picture, and I found a place. This is it, And I first show a time lapse, and a time lapse is I took, while taking the remake, I had another camera pointed on the place where I took the remake, and it made a picture every 15 seconds, and you'll see what happens. This was about an hour in, yeah, let's say 10, 15 seconds. And this is the remake. If you put both pictures above each other, you will see it is a match for, let's say, 95%. But the only small mistake I made was that the rock in the middle, this one seems, yeah, here the rock seems bigger, but it's just the level of the water is much higher on the picture I took in October 21 than this one. Thomson took it at the late 1940s. And it's not a really 100% match because the rock is a bit more to the right. So I had to be a bit more to the left, but nothing much, well, not a lot changed. I think that the trees got a bit bigger. There were already a lot of trees, still Scots pines, which is very nice. This one is taken in winter, of course, and this in October. But it's a very nice view, and I think also a very classic view. So, and then I'll go to the next one. This is a bit further along the road in Glen Torridon, nearly at the end, just before you come into Kinlochio, and then you have Ben A at the left-hand side. And this picture was published in one of his two main books. And Thomson didn't make a lot of pictures with people in it. He was mainly focusing on landscapes, and there's a series of Edinburgh of streetscapes. But this is one of the photos he took with also picturing people, and they're cutting peat, which was done very frequently and by a lot of people in the 1950s, 60s, even 70s and 80s, and I think still now peat is cut a little bit, and I'll show the this is an it goes from the old picture to the remake. It's a dissolve. And you see the mountains on the back was really a match, but a bit in front. And I think this was the peat bank. So I'll show the before and after this. And the real nice thing about this is this is one of the pictures of the photos I already researched, and I also make the pictures available on Facebook pages, and I got somebody commented on the picture I posted, the one on the top left, and somebody recognized the photo, and she sent me the photo on the bottom left, and it are of course the same people, and the picture is taken a few minutes or a few seconds before or after the other one. And she said like, oh, but I know who that is, and it's my great-grandfather and my grandfather. So I started digging a bit, and the person who I got in contact with also sent me 2 photographs of the MacIver family, with the man in the picture in the middle on the top is the man with the hat cutting peat, and the man at the back at the right hand side is the young man who is on top of the bank, and the young fellow at the left, it's the son of Ian and the grandson of Alexander, and Alexander is the older man working at the peat bank, and Ian is the younger man working on the peat bank. And this is really interesting, and this is also, yeah, a nice search and find, and based on this I can also write a story about what you could see in the past and what you can see now. And the picture on in the middle on the bottom, really in the center of it, you can see that's the shed, or the part of the cottage that you can see more in detail on top of it. So, and this is the then and now picture. So you see here, this is the peat bank, and I think in the remake it is taken here. So I don't know whether they got a lot of peat further. Maybe this is not a real match in front, but yeah, you can see what did change. I go back to the map now. So zoom in a bit. So this is another one, and it's a black and white of the same picture, and this one is taken from more or less the same location, but then more to the right. We continue our journey. Now zoom out a bit. So this is the picture of I just showed, and this is another one, a bit more close to Kinlochhill, also with a view on Benay. Then there are a series of locations he took from Lochmaray and the Sliach. And I think it was one of his favorite mountains in the West Highlands. This one is taken from nearly the end of Lochaber, so nearly from Kinlochhill. Then I go a bit further. This one I tried to make, but here the quite young conifers at the end of the 40s, beginning of the 50s, are full grown now, so they really block the view of the Six Lochs. Then I'll zoom in a bit. I think this is his most popular picture, photo he took from Lochaber and the Six Lochs. And for that one, I go back to the presentation. Oh, oops, that's not good. This one, sorry. And this is the same picture. And for this location, I searched for about, I think, 6 hours to find the location. And this was the result. Watch very closely to the trees in front. And it's really 70 years after. So if I go to the now and then, the then and now, this tree is still there, and these two are also still there. And the fascinating thing is that the tree on the right is hardly changed. Well, it lost a branch at the bottom, and the branch on top, I think it also lost the top bit, but the tree is still there.
That must have been a real eureka moment, Estelle, when you, after 6 hours looking for it and you saw that tree.
Yeah, it was quite, yeah. It's always nice to find the same spot, but with this one I was really amazed that hardly anything changed. And I was thinking, like, okay, 70 years, so the climate must be quite harsh up there. But one of the downside things of the picture is, and I'm not complaining, but when I really found the spot and I had my tripod on the same place, the light was gone. So, but now I know when I come back in a few months, I know where to search, and I hope to make a remake with even better light. I'm sometimes thinking like, okay, if Thomson took his picture in winter, do I also have to take the picture in winter? But I mainly focus on trying to find the exact place and trying to find people who can tell me the story of what changed.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Sorry?
Can I say something? I was there 50 years ago, and we camped there at almost at that site on Lochaber. But on your pictures, it's very nice to see that the background on the foothills from Six Lochs is much more full, has a lot of more trees on your picture.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see that.
Yeah.
That how it developed, the woods there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Lochaber is one of the examples that on not on the side where the road is, but the other side. So let's say the north side, and you can also see it on the map that there's a lot of regeneration, and it's very. I think the forest is becoming very lovely up there. So, and it's all the way, it's all the stretch from here all the way up to the end, that there is a lot of new forests, and that's really, most of these trees are 50 to 70 years old. There are also a few examples in Lochaber. You can watch online that you really see that the valley is all regeneration forest, and I think it's a good thing. You can, of course, you can debate about that, but there are definitely more trees now in a lot of places in Scotland than 50 to 70 years ago.
Yes, yes. You're right, yes.
Yeah. This is another example of a picture of Lochaber and Six Lochs. And I found this picture only a few months ago, so I didn't have the chance yet to make the remake, but this is also one of the ones I'll try to find. I know already more or less where it is. And also this one. And the big question here is, who is the man in the photo? Maybe it's Thomson.
No, I can tell you who it is.
Go ahead, please.
It's a fellow called Kirk. It's he was had a shop in Gairloch, Kirk Hand Weave, and that's Mr. Kirk. He was friendly with W.S. Thomson.
Okay, go ahead.
That was Kirk, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how do you recognize him?
Well, I'll tell you a little story. I was a student home on holiday, and I was in school with Ian Kirk, the son of that man, and we were both rounded up to carry Thomson's camera up to Corrie McKennicher, which is on the back of Bede. And that was at Easter, I guess, in 1955. And when we got up there, he said it was April, and he decided we were too early. He was wanting to get the sun shining into the Corrie, but he said, I'll need to come back in June. And we were dismayed that he didn't even take a photograph of us after us lugging the cameras all the way up to Corrie McKennicher.
That's a very interesting and nice story. So, are you living in the area still?
Yes, my name is Roy McIntyre, and I'm a trustee of the Gaelic Museum.
Oh yeah, okay. So I hope to meet you when I come there in April.
Yeah, I'll tell you that story. Yeah.
That would be very nice. Thank you. Karen told about the tin box, and this is the picture that is printed on the tin box.
Yeah.
And the tin box is in the collection of the Gaelic Museum.
He was George Kirk. I was trying to remember his first name. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I hope to meet you in a few months.
Okay.
It would be very nice. Maybe we can go and try to find that place together.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Here you already see a lot of trees, because this picture is also better of quality than the other ones. And like I also said in the beginning of the presentation, it's a bit a downside. But if I would find the transparency, so the original of this one, it must be a fantastic photograph. Much better even than the pictures, the photos taken now by digital cameras. But I'm still on the hunt of that. Okay. You just mentioned climbing the Ben A, and I forgot one. This one.
Well, that's Corrie McKennicher. Yeah. That's Corrie McKennicher. Yes.
Maybe that's the place you were talking about.
Yeah, he must have gone back and taken that, but the day, well, I don't know, the sun's not very clear in there, but maybe that's what, no, I'm pretty certain from memory, he didn't take a picture, but that's the spot.
Yeah. So together with two pictures and your recollections, we have a story.
Yeah. And another interesting thing about that picture, it's almost a location where there was a very well documented airplane crash in I think in 1947 or thereabouts, where they were all killed, and out of that crash was spawned the Mountain Rescue Service in the north of Scotland.
Yeah. Okay. I've just seen it is already 8:30. I hope everybody can hang on. I'll go a bit faster. But thank you for your recollections. This is taken from a place where they redid refurbished the road last year. Well, this one is maybe Falls of Kerry. I think they're gone, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
The hydro scheme,
Yeah.
well, more or less took the water away.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to Balachru. I'll take this one. It's well, you all know this because we use this for the promotion of this presentation.
Mhm.
This must have been changed also a lot, I think. Probably some dwellings in front.
Are still there,
Yeah,
but there's dozens more houses there now. Yeah.
but I think the view is still there.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. This is Lochaber Pier.
That's the old McBrain Pier that's no longer there. That is completely different now, but that was the old McBrain steel pier, which was demolished. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think where the sheep is in front, there are a lot of trees now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
even catch the seagull. Okay. Well, this is a hard one. I'm not going to show. This is a view of Strat.
Yeah.
Also changed a lot. Well, a lot more houses.
Yeah.
I'll do this one, color one. It's also a quite known picture of Thomson.
Mm.
Okay, go further. Oh yeah, this is yeah. This is the cover of the Westeros. Let's see, booklet. A lot more trees also there, but still possible to remake. And then in Rio Gardens, I made a remake of this one, but well, the tree, it's an oh my goodness, it's an exotic tree.
Oh, that is
eucalyptus.
Yeah, eucalyptus. Yeah, it's still there, but it's well, it fell down and it started growing again. So it's still there. And there's another one taken from the gardens with a nice view of Pulio, with here the river coming into the Loch. And I think this is Pulio Hotel. Okay, further on, there's a big gap between Pulio and a picture taken of Old Bay. On the right is the well, not the naval. Yeah, on the left is the pier of the naval base, and on the right is where there is the fuel tanks. And I think these are 2 warships. And then, yeah, the nice bay of Old Bay. This one I tried to find in October 21 when I was there, and I thought I found it. And after that, I got in a discussion online on a Facebook page, and this building, it was a black house. I think it's still there. And in this area in front, there's a plantation of conifer trees. But this is still there, but the remake isn't possible anymore because they're just all trees in front. But it's a nice picture, and also it gives an idea that there were still these kind of houses at the end of the 40s, beginning of the 50s in the Westeros area. And I think it's not the only one. A very spectacular place is, of course, also the view of Grunier Bay. And there are several of them. And it's also a very nice story about this band isn't there anymore. They made the curb a bit less sharper. This is another one from a bit higher up. And I think also talking to the local people, you've got a wall here, and the wall was there until a certain time, and after that it came, it's changed. So this is also, and the interesting thing about this is in the booklets there are no dates, so it's very hard to really try and find out in which year the pictures are taken, unless somebody can really tell, like, oh yeah, but I know this changed at a certain time and it's not there anymore. So these are all, this is also a very nice picture. It's a tourist bus with the guide here, and he's pointing upwards, and this is the last one. It's a bit further down the road, but up the hill. Okay.
That last picture had Ellie's grandpa's house in it.
Oh yeah. This one.
One with the house, yep.
Yeah.
Is Ellie on there?
I can ask for dates, Estelle.
Okay. This is very nice view, and it's still possible to make a remake of this one. Of that goal. Okay. I think I have to. Well, this is a not so easy one. This is so-called Destitution Road. And I think this building is still this cottage is still there, or shed, or whatever it is now.
A ruin.
Yeah.
Not on jealous.
This is more or less on the same place. Okay. I'll go to nearly the last bit. This is a view on Lochaber. And this one is also a very interesting one. It changed a bit. Well, I think a lot. But here are some very nice features you can, try and find out what it is. And I go further up Ullapool now. With this very nice picture of Ullapool all the way in the back. And then coming closer and closer. A bit further up to Ullapool. And then this one, but it's, oh, sorry. But it's in the other direction. And yeah, the quality of this one is quite poor. The print is not so good. And then we have a series he took from the Braes of Ullapool onto the town. This one. And so here the same question. Who is the man in the picture?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to find out.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, this one is not. It's also one of his earlier pictures, and really also photography changed a lot between the end of the 40s and the beginning of the 50s, because this one is, I think, about mid-50s. And if you see the quality between this one and the black and white one I just showed before, This is a very nice picture of how it was. Probably the mid-50s. But I don't know about the remake, because here in front you see a lot of trees and they probably got a lot bigger. But I'll find that out when I come to the area again. This one of Ullapool South. It's taken from the pier.
There's a large construction going on right now in Ullapool. It's going to change that dramatically, that frontage.
Okay, yeah. But the interesting thing about this is you can also, if you have a closer look, you can decipher the initials of the boats.
Yeah.
So you can try and find out whose boat it was, trying to find people who still know about that. So, and that's also one of the goals of the project, is to try and find and collect stories, and not only collect stories, but also giving back the stories to the community. Nearly at the end of this trip. So this one I only found a few weeks ago.
That's interesting.
Very interesting picture.
Yeah, just what I thought.
This one is taken from more or less the same place, but it's an earlier one. This is also, I think, taken in 47 or even before, a few years before. Well, 45, 40, 46.
Yep.
And then the last ones.
Yeah.
This is a very nice one.
Yeah, that's coming north.
How do you pronounce it?
Ardmere Bay.
Yeah. And the loch?
Yeah.
Loch.
Canyard?
No, Canyard. It's Canyard.
Yeah.
Yes, Loch Canyard. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to have the names correct, but it's
yes, and that is Isle Martin. That you've just seen the half of it there on the left hand side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a black and white, and maybe this is also, but it's pure speculation. An earlier car of Thomson, and there is a caravan standing on the beach. Well, not a beach, but
Around there.
and we'll close the series with a sunset. Okay, I just go back to the presentation, and I just want to this one. I would like to show you, but it's not a match. I had to be more uphill for this one. So another reason to come come back. Okay, just to close. So, like Karen said, I made a series in Lochaber, and I think I scouted last year about 100 places, and I made 60 remakes, and I'm still writing the stories. They are printed in the Lochaber Times every 2 weeks, and also you can read them online. So what I would like to do for the Westeros series is I'm coming probably in April to try and meet people locally who can help me, and also scouting places. And then for a second visit, I come back for a longer time to collect stories and also make the remakes. And then a third time, I will return with the results, making some kind of traveling exhibition, and also print the stories in one of the newspapers or local newspapers, and also making the stories available online. So I'll stop sharing now. Sorry, it took a bit longer.
Oh, very good. That was excellent.
Brilliant, Estelle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there questions?
I'm just having a look at the chat just now. Yeah, Maggie says amazing remake. And it is amazing, especially to see the time lapse move through it. It's fascinating. I think you're quite you seem to be quite, it has to be a perfect match.
Yeah.
To the untrained eye. It's like, wow, that's exactly the same, but for you it has to be. So how do you measure that? You mentioned you overlap the pictures. Is that your sort of technique?
Let me grab an example, just like this. I'll show it how I work. So I scan all the pictures, and you see some lines on it. It's called a grid, and that grid is also on my camera.
I see.
And so I try to move my camera and tripod until everything matches. And it's not only a question of being at nearly near the distance, but you have to be on the same distance from the object, but also on the same height. So it's some kind of 3D puzzle, trying to find the same location. And I know what kind of camera Thomson used, and of course it's a bit different, but I know more or less which height he used all the time. So and it's a bit experience and a bit being lucky, and sometimes it doesn't work, but that's part of the fun.
Indeed. Brilliant.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, please.
You were talking about travel time or traveling time. There we could see the pictures back. What is that? I'm sorry, I don't know what it is.
No, travel in time is just the name of the project.
Okay.
And yeah, because you have to give a project a name, and travel in time is the name of the project, and the purpose is just go and visit places that were photographed in the past and try and find the places again now and see what changed.
Okay.
And the name for that project is Travel in Time.
And but you also mentioned that we could see the pictures there, we as audience. And how do we do that?
I'll show you. I'll share the screen again for a second. Can I? Oh yeah. Okay. Share screen. Desktop. Okay. Share. I'll make this bigger. If you go to, and I'll close this one. If you go to the Travel in Time website, and it's travelintime.uk, you come on this page, and then you go to Maps, and you get two maps. One with a series of old pictures and remakes, and one map with all the Thomson pictures. And if you go to the first map, you can make it bigger, and you see I did a series in the area where I'm living, in Leicestershire, all the way south. But the Thomson remakes I made up to now, you can also find there. And let me give an example here of this is Jedburgh Abbey. And if you can go around this map, and if you go to here to Pouliou, you see this remake.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It's not a very good one, but it's a first try.
Yes. Lovely, thank you.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Now,
And a lot of pictures are here in the Lochaber area. But when I continue with the project in Westeros, there will be a lot of more of these places from all the way up here to there. So I'm working on the project place by place.
thank you.
Okay, I stop sharing again.
Yeah,
So-
lots of comments saying how interesting it's been, Estelle, and Holly commented that it's painstaking work.
So do you want a story about George Kirk's wife was called Kirsty, and she was quite a well-known craftsperson in Gairloch. And the Gairloch Museum, one of our volunteers, Dorothy Malone, has been collecting pieces that she produced in the 40s and 50s, and she's got quite a collection, which I think Karen has in the museum. And I would suspect that she would have had an input into the tin you talk about with the picture on it, because Thomson was very friendly with the Kirks. In fact, I think he stayed there in Gairloch when he was in Gairloch, and I think they would have collaborated in making these goods partly for Kirsty Kirk's craft shop at the time. So that's a bit of guesswork, but I suspect that could be the case.
Yeah, because Karen said that now all these goods are made, abroad, China.
Yes, they're all made in China now. Yeah.
But in the 50s they were probably made locally.
Well, yes, I guess so, or maybe in Central Belt somewhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it would be, well, and I probably go and try to find out about this tin. because I'm also working about, well, not really a biography of Thomson, but I'll try to write also about his work and life, and it would be interesting to know about this. It's, yeah, it's all things to find out, to try and find out.
Another thing he might have been involved in would be in the hydro schemes. A lot of the photographers at that time got commissions to do construction photographs on the dams. And I mean, I know another photographer of the same vintage that took many beautiful photographs of the hydro schemes when they were being built. I'm not sure if Thomson was involved in that or not, but he could well have been.
I haven't found any pictures of Thomson taken of the hydro schemes, because a lot of hydro schemes were developed in those years. But
In those years, yeah.
I haven't found any yet, I have to say.
There was another well-known photographer of the time, and I can't remember his name right now, but I can find out. And he took many photographs of the hydro schemes, and I would be surprised if Thomson didn't do some of that work. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing to investigate.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone? No? I do. Thanks, Leslie. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Estelle.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. No, that was fascinating. David commented as well. It's a visit down memory lane. It's a really wonderful, important project. Thank you all for that. It's fascinating. We look forward to seeing how the rest of the West of the Ross project develops. It'll be really great to see. And hopefully you come by and give them in April when you're
Yeah, I'm for sure coming in April to scout places and meet people and start making connections. Yeah. And of course, one of the main sources is the Geoloch Museum, but I think also the local history societies are most of the time very interesting. And it's not only a question of me trying to find the information for my project, but I'm also happy to share all the results with the local historical groups.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think we'll close there. There's no other questions, but we had Estelle's contact details there, and I'll put round a link as well to the Travel with Time website as well. And we'll have the YouTube video up in the next week or so as well, so you can refer back to it. But thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Thank you very much, Estelle, for spending your time with us tonight and showing us all these wonderful photos and memories. We really appreciate it. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you. Good luck. And good luck, Jacqueline says.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye. Have a
Good
good night.
Bye.